Um, I wish there'd be an easier way to pause. Can I just do space? No, space bar doesn't work. Okay. Oh, one Ziploc bag, I believe, has bars with peanuts in them. The other one doesn't. So if you're allergic, take the extra precaution there. Okay, here we go. Leasing. It's basically like renting, but it's over a longer period of time. It's an alternative to financing. I don't know if I got you to write this down, but I would strongly recommend, right? Leasing, a lease payment is lower than a loan payment. So if you want, this is 45. So if you're saying, hey, I want a Toyota Corolla, right? I want a Toyota Corolla. You can buy it through a loan, like using a loan, or you can lease it. The lease payment will be lower because you're not paying for the entire value of the car. You're only paying for a portion of it. Okay. So I talked about some of that. I made sure that these formulas, if you don't have them yet, after we're done here, you should have these formulas on your study sheet for sure. I didn't do the A and B yesterday, I don't think, with you, but it's just saying that if it ever asks you for the total lease including purchase, you would just add the lease cost that you found here and add the residual value including taxes. Okay. So watch out for that. So these are the formulas I'm going to go by, and I think I call these component in your notes. Same thing. The total lease cost has potentially 3 parts to it. Mileage isn't always there, and down payment isn't always there, but there's definitely the middle part will be there. Like quite certain of that, right? And just understand how the formulas work. So let's dive into another example. We have to actually finish that example I started. So let's go to 49. This is where we ended up. This is where we ended up. So if you didn't highlight leases, I would like you to do that right now. I use a different color. Sometimes I look at it after and I kind of make changes to emphasize things. When you see the word leasing on your study sheet, you should have a leasing category, a leasing section. Do not mix the payment of a lease up with financing. That's what I see all the time, because you have payment for leasing and there's a payment for loan, so students mix them up. You should have loans and financing section, and you should have leasing section, and they don't cross, right? They don't cross. So we figured out our total payments yesterday. We took the payment, $479 times 24 months times 1.12. There it is. The total cost of the lease. Remember, there are 3 parts to it. We got rid of the mileage because there's no mileage mentioned. This is on 49. So this is what the lease would have ended up costing us. Calculate the total residual value of the minivan after tax. So they want the total residual value, right? It's the value to purchase at the end of lease. That's what it's asking for there. Okay, so try to read carefully. It's like, what is it asking me for? Well, the residual value, and they have to give you some kind of information. It can either be a dollar value, flat out, this is how much you will owe us, or a percentage. So let's go up and do some hunting for numbers. And there it is. The residual value, what is it? It's 62% of the MSRP, the base price. So you look up here, the MSRP is stated 28,500. So 62% of that is where you're going to find your answer. So residual value is going to be 28,500. Multiply that by 62%, which is 0.62. 62 divided by 100. And it does say after tax, so times 1.12. All right, grab your calculators, type that in. See if you get, so this will be before taxes. As soon as you slap the 1.12, it's after tax. You can do it in one shot. It's just like saying 2 times 3 times 5. You can say 2 times 3 and then times 5. Or you can just do it all in one shot. You get the same answer. However, a bill of sale would never do this, correct, guys? A nice official invoice would have the breakdown. Be like, hey, 28,500 times 62. This is what it is before taxes. And then they would have a line saying these are your taxes, and then they would add it up. But I like to do it nice, quickly, and efficiently. So this would be 19,790 and 4, and that's not right. You got to put 4. Yeah, you wouldn't say, what is it? 19,790 and 4, right? Like it doesn't, and 40 cents, right? So that's where it's at. So this here, remember, 62% of that, you're paying less, right? You're only paying 62% of what it used to be. Not 100%, but 62%. And then you add taxes to it. That's why it is 19,000 that you end up paying, right? It's less than what it was brand new. But remember, you paid this already throughout the lease. Now it's like, hey, you want to buy it? Well, how much is it going to be? 19,790 and 40 cents. If you want it, right? And so you decide, it's like, well, I'm the only one that drove it. I like it. It's reliable. Let's buy it. So you might have cash. I don't. I would probably have to go to the bank and say, hey, I need 19,000 now to buy this thing, right? Here, calculate the total cost. This is rare, but I do ask from time to time. The total cost of leasing and buying, right? The and is saying, I want both. So you're essentially going to add whatever is in B and C, and that's where it's at. Total cost, including purchase. That's what that is. I strongly discourage you from shortcutting on your study sheet. Some students go TCP or something, and then it's exam time. It's like, what does that even mean, right? So don't do that. So total cost of leasing is 14,375.52 plus this one, 19,790 and 40 cents. You would think I would have my key ready to go, right? But I don't. You're so organized, Mr. Dixon. You're an example for all other teachers to be organized. There you go. 34,165.92. I'm just checking 52 and 40 is 92, so at least that part should. So you end up paying 34,000 for this car if you lease it and then buy it, okay? Which is more. So if you were to buy it brand new, let's go up here. Let's say you forget about leasing, I just want that car. What would they tax on this? It's a brand new car, right? So 28,500 times 1.12. If you bought it right there and then, you'd only pay 31,000. But if you want to lease and then buy it, cost you more. Yeah, you know what? Can I say something? I'm biased. Leasing is a bad idea. The only time it's a good idea is if you have a business and you can write it off as an expense. Like if you're a real estate agent, if you're a contractor, you're driving around all the time, you don't want to bother with downtime. You don't want to bother with mechanics. You just want your crew to go out there, fix that. You get a call, you go out, you fix it. So they keep on leasing their fleet. And so every 2-3 years, they're just like, here are used cars. We want new ones. Let's keep going. Let's keep this going. Some companies really like that, but they have the benefit of having it as a tax write-off. If you're just a private person, you cannot write it off for tax purposes. So what is so appealing about it? Low maintenance, lower payments, and for business owners, there are tax benefits, right? They can write it off as taxes. You know what? And I will also be honest, this may not be 100% accurate. It might be more. Like this gets outdated so soon. Like I go online and check. I've even called dealerships sometimes, pretending to be a customer. And they probably don't like it too much, but I ask questions like, hey, so these, not these, right? Okay, let's go to page 50 here. I'm going to do this one, and then you're on your own for a bit. And I'm going to let go of your hand and be like, okay, now you got to walk yourself, right? All right. Hello. Michelle is returning a Toyota Corolla, which she leased for 3 years. Let's highlight some of the things here. Okay, there's that word leasing. So my study sheet, wink, right? Wink, wink. It's going to have a leasing section in it with all the formulas. The original purchase price is $24,000 before taxes, right? So that means it's no taxes have been added. Michelle paid 310 plus taxes per month. So this is almost like looking back, right? Looking back, she paid 310 plus taxes, so we would have to add taxes there as well, with a down payment of $4,000. Highlight that. The guaranteed residual value stated in the contract is $15,600 before tax. Okay. So I want to write the guaranteed residual value is $15,600 before tax. What does that mean, Mr. Erickson? What's the 24 and what's that? This is just telling you, right? Brand new would have been that. When your lease is over, this is how much you will have to pay to buy it if you want it still. So the 24, and then this is what ends up being the cost for you. The lease agreement allows, watch this, I'm going to use a different color because this is different. Allows 12,000 kilometers per year with a charge of 15 cents per kilometers over the limit. The vehicle is returned with an odometer reading of 41,200. Hint, hint, right? There's a mileage charge. Exclamation mark, right? So this is also the biggest reason I would suggest don't lease. Not just because it ends up costing you more, because you pay mileage, right? All right. Calculate the total mileage charge Michelle will pay after tax. So the lease is over. She's probably on her way to the dealership, and it's like, how much am I gonna have to pay for mileage? Well, let's figure that out. You have to determine the kilometers over limit, right? That's what you have to determine first. Oh, what? Sorry. Can I redo this? It's not number, just kilometers, right? Kilometers over limit. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do that. I think I can just go equals. Make up your mind, right? equals, I will say this, driven minus allowed. Right? If you take what you drove minus what you allowed, that's going to tell you how many kilometers you're over. So watch this, right? You drove 41,200 kilometers minus how many kilometers will you be allowed to drive? Is it 12,000 or is it 36,000? 12,000 a year, right? How many years was the lease for? Okay, so 36,000. But you know what? This brings up the point that causes a lot of students to get this wrong. Sometimes you have to read carefully. The question just says flat out, you're allowed to drive 40,000 for the whole lease. Okay, guys, are you listening? Sometimes the question just flat out says for the whole lease, it's a fixed amount. Sometimes it says a certain amount per kilometer or per year. So you have to watch out. Okay. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 3 years times 12,000. So you see what's happening. You're allowed 36,000, right? So here we go. 41,200 kilometers minus 36,000 kilometers. Let's figure out what that is. Use your handy dandy calculator. I should know this, right? But it slows me down. So that way you get to benefit from me slowing down a bit. 5,200 kilometers over limit, right? And does it make sense? You drove this much, you were allowed that much. So there's a problem there. You're going to be charged for the 5,200 kilometers you went over. On average, a person drives between 12,000 and 15,000 kilometers a year. On average, depending on how far you live from work, how much you go out of town. If you like joyriding on Sunday nights up and down Portage, right? Whatever your style is, it will differ. So we still need to figure out the cost, right? So here it is. Mileage. I'm following the formula. I'm going to go to my formula here so that I'm consistent with what you have. Mileage, I'm going to go kilometers past limit. Then it's asking for the rate per kilometer, which is 15 cents. Is it asking after tax? The question does say after tax, so slap on the 1.12. And here we go. That is your final answer. So times 0.15 times 1.12. And there it is, $873.60. Boom. That is the answer to the mileage portion. And it usually comes back. So just show your work. Next, calculate the cost of the lease after tax. Total cost of the lease after tax. You know that there are 3 components, right? Down, total payments, and is that millage? What is that? Mileage. There we go. So let's go for it. Total is down. Is there a down payment? Yeah, $4,000. Ooh, right? You get that back? Bye-bye, $4,000. Kiss it goodbye, right? Forget about it. It's just like your payments, goodbye. Like the lease payments, you'll never see them again. Bye-bye, right? And how do I do this part here, the total payments part? Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert brackets, and I'm going to go $310 times. Here you have to be careful. How many payments are you making of 310? So you go up here, it's 3 years, right? So turn that into months. I'm going to go up here. Yeah, so it's going to be easy. It's going to be 12, 24, 36, right? Maybe 48. So it's always times 12. So you go times 36 months. And what do we need to do to the payment? It gets taxed 12%. Everything in leasing, except for the down payment, is taxed 12%. So this is going to ensure that the 36 payments will also be taxed. Yikes, right? So much going on here. Plus the mileage, copy paste. You can copy paste except for when you're writing an English essay, right? You're not allowed to do that. You still write essays? Yeah. Well, if you're interested in post-secondary, like university, I mean, like you have to learn that, right? So it's good. I'm glad they still make you do that. English is a swear word in my, no, I'm just kidding. English is good. I'm not going to say anything about the English department. They're good. We get along. We tolerate each other. Okay, question. Let's be critical. 873, that's already taxed, correct? Right, guys? It's already taxed because I'm not going to add taxes again. This is already taxed. How do I know? I'm going to go upstream. Yep, 1.12. Oh, I need to tax this guy. Nope. So let's just add and way to go, right? So this plus 873, I'm jumping a little bit, plus the 4 grand. This is already taxes in. $17,372.80. That's your down, your payments, and your mileage. So this is what she ultimately will have paid at the end of her lease. Let's keep going. Determine the cost to purchase the vehicle at the end of the lease after tax. Can I say this? This would be a 1-mark question. You know why? Because you have, which number would you use to figure this out? Do you have the guaranteed residual value right here? It's not even a percentage, it's a flat out dollar amount. So watch this. Residual value is going to be 15,600. Multiply that by 1.12. I like brackets. You don't have to use brackets, but kind of keeps things a little neater, right? 17,472. Boom, 1 mark. Just to add taxes to that. You just have to know that 12% taxes apply. That's why it's a 1 marker. Next, total cost of the lease and the purchase at maturity. What's maturity? End of lease, right? So it's just another fancy word. So total would be 17,372.80 plus 17,472. And here I'm going to copy my key, 34,844.80. So the car was brand new, 24 grand. By the time you're done with your lease, if you still want to own it, 34 grand, right? So it's like a $10,000 difference. Let me try some, or Alexa, sorry. If Michelle would have financed the amount, this is just a comparison, right? If Michelle would have financed the amount over 4 years at 5.25%, calculate the total cost of purchase including the total interest. I think I'm gonna put a star on it if time allows. I'm gonna pause. I wouldn't expect you to know how to do that right now, but it's basically going back to loans. Actually, I would expect you to know how to do that, but I'm not gonna go there right now. It's just like, hey, if you were to do a loan instead of leasing it, what would the difference be? Okay. If you're interested, I'll just tell you this. The payment ends up being $531.04. Okay. What's the payment here for this car? The lease payment's $310 plus tax. So it's a lot less than buying it out, like financing the whole car. But then it's yours, right? If you do this, you can customize it. You can change the paint on it. You can put decals on it. You can put another muffler on it, rims. You can't do that with a lease. You cannot change anything on it, right? I mean, you can, I guess, change the wheels and then just take them off and swap them, but I don't know who would want to do that. So I'm going to do the pros and cons of leasing in a bit, but right now let's focus on the math. So go to 51, and I'll be very upfront with you here. Example 3, it's only considering the additional charges. What are additional charges? Mileage, right? There's mileage and there's a little bit of work done because there needed to be some painting done. Sometimes if you chip it or scratch it, they'll charge you to fix that when you return it. They'll put a surcharge on it. So everything gets taxed 12%. That's what I'm trying to say here. So break this down into mileage, right? Mileage, and then add repairs. And all of that will get taxed 12%. Okay, that's what I want you to do there. And then question 4 is just a flat out, oh, I want you to omit that. Yeah, omit that for now. So you're going to do this one. I'm going to put a star here, okay? You do this one for sure. And let's go to 52. And that one I want you to do as well. Maybe you want to start with this and then go back to the repairs and mileage. Okay? So these two, example 3 and example 5, all right? Right now, I'll give you class time. Do it. If you have a question, you call me. If you need to update your study sheet, you do it. And I'll actually encourage you to do 5 maybe first. That's a full on. If you can do that, you'll be okay for tomorrow's quiz. And if you're stuck now, then maybe after I correct it, you'll be able to do it. That answer. And the answer is on 52. Make it appear on the video, right? Maybe everybody just look up for this one. So there's this Toyota Corolla here, core. There's the lease column, and then there's the finance column. What do you notice about the monthly payment? Granted, one is weekly, one is bi-weekly, so that's a little deceiving. But even if you go this times 2, so go 189.09 times 2 to make it bi-weekly, it's still $50 or so less to lease versus financing, right? And look what it says here, lease end value. What would we call this? This in this course, residual value, right? So in this case, they guarantee you that when you're done leasing, you can buy it for this much. Okay. And it says annual kilometers. So in this case, it's 20,000 kilometers per year that this particular dealer would allow, all right? Which is not bad. 20 is actually doable. Okay, I'm going to do fuel economy, but I need to give you pros and cons because the province and me will ask you for it. And I will tell you this, bedtime reading on page 47, pros and cons are right there. But I will give you the short Coles notes here on page 48. So go to 48. And you know how you were all working on the leasing questions? I will scan those and post them, right? So if you're still unsure how I got the answers, my answer key is like detailed. So I'll post them and it just take some time after class to check, right? So go to 48, leasing advantages. And here's the advantage of leasing. Okay, compared to a loan, it has lower monthly payments. Compared to financing. So this would be a bullet you could use for particularly talking versus financing, right? Since you only pay, right? Since you only pay for use and depreciation, right? You're not paying for the entire vehicle when you're leasing. In general, if leasing is what you want to do, then it's safer in the long run. Okay, safer, comma, since you drive a new car all the time, since you drive a new car all the time, you have latest safety. Sorry, you have latest safety features. I'm gonna zoom into that. Focus there. Safer since you drive a new car all the time. So if leasing is gonna be your thing, if you're gonna consistently lease, bring it back, take a new one, lease, bring it back, take a new one, you're gonna have a safer vehicle, right? There's lower maintenance. Lower maintenance. New cars are under warranty. And it's a brand new vehicle, so duh, right? It's usually gonna have fewer issues. You avoid negotiations when it is time to renew your lease. So you don't have to viciously try to bring down the cost of anything. Like the new vehicle will just have a new lease price and you just pay it and you just move on. You don't have to pay a large amount. I will say this. Business, right? For business people, tax, I would say tax write-off for business owners. Right? They can write off the payments. More reliable. Maybe I'll say this. From that, I'm just going to say companies have less downtime. Companies have less downtime. So for a business, from a business standpoint, if it ever says, why would a business want to lease? Hey, they can write off the payment. They have less downtime, allowing them to, right? There's nothing more frustrating than clients calling you, like, hey, where's the person to fix my furnace? Oh, well, sorry, we're down. Like the van isn't starting. It's in the shop. Right now you're losing customers and you're dealing with that hassle. Okay. Disadvantages. If I'm a little fast, it's recorded, right? Disadvantages. You don't own the vehicle. Oops. So this can be used multiple times. You don't own the vehicle, right? You can't modify it. You can't use it as an asset. What is that, Mr. Dirksen? Sounds like a different word. Assets is something you own that banks see as something valuable you have. So if you want a loan to buy something, they'll say, well, what do you own? Oh, you have a car. Okay, that's an asset, right? Oh, you own a computer. I don't know. That's not really expensive. You have a house. You have something that you own, right? That's called an asset. You can't use it because it's leased. It's not yours. This is a big one. You may incur mileage charges, right? You're limited on the kilometers you can drive. I think I'll just say one more thing. You may be leasing a car you cannot afford. So some people are like, yeah, I can afford the lease payment, but when it's time to buy it at the end, you're like, oof, it's still 30 grand? I can't do that. So but you lease it, you take it, you go for it, but then you end up not being able to pay for it after all. So there's a few there. I would say mileage and that you don't own it, which means you cannot modify it. Those are big. Okay. I feel like I want to add it. Perpetual payments. What is that? Perpetual payments. Your payments never stop. That's what that is. So you will always have a payment. I like my truck. I'm looking forward to that day, and 3 years from now, I will be paid off. Right? It was a 5-year loan. I'm done 2 years. 3 more years that I have to pay, and then no more payments. And I would like to drive that thing for another 10 years. So fingers crossed. And so that's a good one too. Your payments never stop. Why? Because if you keep on leasing, you never own it. Always have to make a lease payment. Okay, let's go to fuel economy. I know you're tired. I think I'm gonna just leave you alone on that, but I'll just give you the answers. Let's go to 67. I'm going to ask you to do examples 3 and 4, but I'm going to break this down. You ready? Break it down. Oh. Anyways, guys, do you need to calculate the fuel economy in this case? This is on 67. You need to calculate the fuel economy, and it's already given. So don't calculate it, it's already there. But you can use it, right? It says you make a trip, right? and it says calculate the total cost of fuel. It jumps. It jumps. So I will break it down for you. First of all, step 1. This is going to be tomorrow's quiz, guys. Step 1. Calculate liters. That's what you need to do first. Okay. And then step 2, I'm going to go way over here. Step 2, calculate cost of fuel. So you need to break this down into 2 parts. Calculate liters, go back a page. Just literally the previous page shows you how to do that. One of those questions on the previous page is going to show you how many liters, and then you calculate the cost of fuel. And this bottom one, just try to figure it out based on the previous. I'll probably do it towards the end, just so you know. And here are the answers. Ready? Please try it. I know you're tired, but this would be 55.77. And this one here, no, it's not dollars. It's 351.65 kilometers. 351.65 kilometers. If you can do those two and show me your work, then you're okay with fuel economy and everything else. Close shop here. Can you just remember this? If you have a fuel economy, you will have to use it like this to start off. And then you go equals. Guys, they will give you one of these. They'll either give you the distance you traveled and like how many liters do you need, or they'll be like, hey, if you have 50 liters in a jerry can, that's a big jerry can, how far can you drive, right? But you need your liters. You should have like cost is liters times the price, right? Like once you have this answer, you figure that out. Okay. Maybe just to let you know, right? The quiz, I will use this space right here. You want to know new, right? How to buy new, depreciation, used. There's dealer. There's private. There are loans, leasing, fuel economy. How's that? That's a lot of stuff, Mr. Dixon. You have a study sheet. I wish I would have had a study sheet when I was in high school.